Hi friends, I'm so excited to share this video as this is a video on art supplies that I have been buying over the last couple of weeks because I've run out of the earlier versions that I had, or these are new things that I wanted to add into my creative journey because I was curious about them. So you're going to see some sketchbooks, Micron tip pens in different colors, oil pastel pads in A4 ivory sheets. Then I purchased some Derwent pastel pencils. I'm very curious about the experience of a pastel mat, and because these are expensive, I'm going to dedicate a whole different video onto this and probably create an artwork for you all. I also purchased a sponge brush pens, if you will, for soft pastels. And then there is a gesso synthetic brush, 75 mm or 3-inch wide brush, and an oil painting paper of canvas grain. We'll open all of this out and probably even swatch some of them like the pastel pencils. And without much ado, let's get started. So first things first, I purchased this pen knife, a crafter's pen knife from Brustro online. And I'm just going to open this up. And we're going to fit the blade in. And the reason why I got this dedicated crafter's knife is because I tend to use this, by the way, the blade needs to be changed, but this heavy duty cutter, box cutter or paper cutter for all household needs as well as for my craft. And I think it was time to dedicate a specific crafter's pen knife for all things related to art. So it's got easy instructions on the back. You need to unscrew the metal tip, which is here, and then this. You just unscrew this and it opens up a space in between here. So there are 8 blades in here, and you just need to take out one of them. And as they get old and rusted or worn out, you can use the refills for the blades. But essentially you take out a blade, be careful, it's going to be sharp, so handle it with care. And there's a shiny edge on one side, which is going to be facing outside. And putting the rest of the blade in and just tighten this so that the blade is in place and it doesn't move. So it's got a sharp edge now, and you have your crafter's pen ready. Keep it secure and in place. It's also got a stylus embosser tip here, or you can use this for mandala art if you are into it. But I think I'm going to be using the pen knife more than anything else. Next, the sketchbooks and the Pigma Micron tip pens in 4 different shades. So we're going to open this up. So I got this from a local bookstore called Mr. DIY, and this was for $270. It doesn't say how many pages it has, but it seems like a really nice quality with a beautiful artwork. And look at these individually bound signatures or sections of paper. That's really nice because what it helps in doing is open up the sketchbook book flat out. The pages are a beautiful ivory color, and they seem thick enough. It doesn't say how many GSM though, so I'm not so sure whether it can hold any water-based pigment. I like to do some light watercolor washes, and a wash and line approach typically with my sketchbooks or sketches when I practice. But nonetheless, it's a really nice sketchbook to have, and it's a perfect size to basically carry when traveling or on holidays. So that's the first sketchbook. The next sketchbook is again from the same local store. This is 160 GSM 24 sheets, and it's a spiral bound pad. And again, a beautiful color. I love the ivory color shades. It's got a really nice texture, smooth grain to it, and I think this will be wonderful to practice some line and wash on. I've been using the Stillman and Burn Beta Series 270 GSM cold pressed sketchbook, and it's really nice to do some of my basic sketches with some light washes, and I think it serves the purpose really well in terms of being able to sketch as well as add a light wash. So I'm keen to see whether these will be able to hold up to a watercolor wash, and I'll let you know in one of my subsequent videos. So next are the Sakura Pigment Micron fine pens. I already have these in 0.25, 0.35 and 0.45 in black. I wanted to try out the colored pens in the same micron tip in size. These are all in size 3. So let's open these up. There's a bleed. Well, there's a bit of a shadow, but it's still pretty good. I expected the blue to be darker, but it's got a nice hue to it. It's like a cobalt blue. The fine tips of these micron pens make them great for just doodling with confidence, doing line and wash, and even for adding signatures in artworks. By the way, this is a sneak peek to later when I add new pastel pencils along in the sketchbook. So I've been spending time doing oil pastels on these little postcard size watercolor paper, and I miss doing some larger size of oil pastels, and for which I usually use, for the larger sizes, I use my A4 size toned Mungyo pastel paper pads. And while these are absolutely excellent, I do miss a plain ivory color A4 size for my oil pastels, and that's the reason why I decided to go in for a Mont oil pastel pad. This is A4 size, and let's open it up. A beautiful textured, soft grainy ivory color sheet. So I'm looking forward to creating more of my larger oil pastels on these. Let's open the Pastelmat pad. This was fairly pricey relative to the other things. So this is 1,799 Indian rupees, and it has 12 sheets, and these are white sheets. Let's open it. It's so much easier now to work with this crafter's pen. So this brand Clairefontaine has got excellent reviews when I was looking at some YouTube videos, and I was very keen to try this out. It's also known for its amazing texture, which is almost like soft velvet sandpaper, and that's exactly how it feels, you know. And I believe this works on the principle of almost like will I or finger-like minute projections from the surface, like a soft carpet, into which the soft pastels, pigments, the powdered pigments basically settle in, and it's not so easy to leave the pigment powder on the surface and transferring so easily. Each pastel matte sheet is separated with a glassine sheet in between to avoid transfer of the soft pastels from one artwork to the other side. These are some of the soft pastels that I've been doing on these little pastel pad papers. They're fairly thin in terms of the GSM is 160, but it's good enough to actually create these little visuals and artworks. Friends, if you want me to create an artwork of this red letter box using soft pastels on this pastel mat, I'll create a new video for you. Just drop in a comment below with the word pastel mat and I'll happily do it for you. Next, let's open and swatch these Derwent pastel pencils. There are 12 of them. There's information given on this tin container. It's printed on. And the maximum retail price for this is 1499. I bought it online on Amazon India and it was for cheaper. Again, the link to this is in the description below. You remember that I've swatched and catalogued all my oil paints as well as my watercolors and other medium that I use. This includes the oil pastels, different brands, as well as the soft pastels. These were the Derwent soft pastel swatches. What we're going to do now is swatch here Derwent pencils. I'm going to use this stencil scale to just pick a shape and start swatching the pastel pencils. So this is called process yellow. My goodness, they're so soft. Didn't expect that. Like, let's fill this in. P100. Let's see, Spectrum Orange. This is Cadmium Red. Beautifully pigmented. This is Violet. This one is Cyan. P340. This is Prussian Blue. Next is Forest Green. It's a beautiful color. This is Pea Green. Beautiful color. Sepia. This must be Yellow Ochre. Carbon Black. And of course, white. Titanium white. Quite nice actually. We can also try to just blend some of these colors and see what happens. So is it as easy as in soft pastels to blend these? Let's try and use this and see what happens. It's got a beautiful, soft, smoky feel to it in terms of the blendability. Of course, if you want to cover large areas of paper with a soft pastel, you can use pastel sticks and not the pencils. Soft pastels which help you cover, say, a large area quickly, right? And it's just so much easier to blend. Soft pastel stick with this, it's really, really good. So the idea of the pencils is basically to use it for finer details and not so much for covering large parts of the paper. So if you were to try and do this same thing with a pastel stick, it would form very thick markings, right? And this gives very fine it would be much thicker. I also swatched these onto toned yellow and grey sheets by Brustro. Friends, I was so intrigued by the pastel pencils that I did a short trip to a local store and bought 5 individual soft pastel pencils from the Stabilo CarbOthello range. They were pricey but highly pigmented and smooth. They also filled some of the gaps of some vibrant pigment pencils that I was looking for. They even carried the light fastness range on each pencil. Next, I just want to share and open this with you, this gesso brush. This is basically a 3-inch or a 75 mm wide flat gesso brush. So I'm going to use this for some underpainting, but I think with water-based medium, probably not oil-based medium, because the bristles are really soft. And this is a oil painting paper pad. It's a size of A4, 300 GSM. It has 10 sheets, canvas grain. First, why I use something like this is basically to use it as an initial palette and color shortlisting and pigment mixing for your larger oil paintings. And in fact, this is something that is for my next oil project. I was trying to work out a palette for my oil painting, and this is how I use the oil painting canvas sheets, and I just have a couple left, and that's why I bought this. Let's open this one. Yes, so it's similar, not exactly the same, but it's very similar to what I had. In fact, I think it's thicker because this is 300 GSM and this was 240 GSM. So I think the ability of this to hold paint more, even though I'm using it for my initial color mixing, will be good, and it'll be pretty strong and sturdy. So I'm actually looking forward to painting on this. Friends, I was really leaning into this oil painting paper, and the more I read about it, that it's ideal for oil painting techniques, holds heavy color applications, so impasto and palette knife work without cracking. I'm curious to see and test this out quickly. And paper really seems nice and thick. It's 300 GSM paper, and let's give this a quick go. I'm not going to be using either solvent or medium for this, like linseed oil, so I'm just gonna go with the paints and let's see what happens. And that's a lovely texture. And the paint goes in really easily. So I'm already getting a great sense of this. So overall, friends, I think I'm super happy with this oil painting paper by Brustro. It holds well and it's not buckling and sturdy. So I would definitely give this like a full thumbs up. It's really good stuff. Friends, I hope this video gave you some ideas about these art supplies. If you enjoyed it, please like, share and subscribe for more of my creative journey. It really helps small channels like mine. Don't forget to drop the word Pastelmat in the comments if you'd like me to make a dedicated video on that. Until then, keep creating and I'll see you in my next video.